All right, we got pistols better than reloading from your boy Arch.
It's an Arch production. This is a 9mm round. Weighing roughly 7 grams, the bullet when fired flies over 330 meters per second and is able to penetrate not that much, but still a little bit. The bullet is shot by many different weapons, like the MP5, one of the most iconic weapons in gaming, always comfortably sitting in the SMG category. In most games, the MP5 is able to kill an opponent in 4 to 5 shots. And combined with the fast fire rate and high mobility, the weapon makes for a great tool for the run and gunner. Now, the keen ones among you might have noticed that this is in fact not a pistol, and that me telling you this has nothing to do with the topic of this video. But does it really? Let's take the bullet out of the MP5's chamber and put it into the M9 Beretta, also known as one of the most iconic weapons in gaming. We know that shooting this cartridge means we need 4 to 5 shots to kill an opponent. So if we put someone with the M9 Beretta in front of an enemy that has the MP5, the M9 Beretta will always lose because its fire rate is just way too slow. What? That doesn't make any sense. It's shooting the exact same cartridge, yet this small thing somehow amplified its damage to...
Yeah, that is a little weird when you put it in video game terms. Like the same bullet doing more damage off the pistol than out of the SMG. I don't know. That's just like a temporary suspension of disbelief that, I don't know, a lot of game devs just have done. I mean, like I wouldn't really expect game devs that make FPSs to be like gun experts, but to some degree, I mean, you probably have to do like at least a little bit of research, you know, as far as like guns go, and you know, like what are the mechanics that make, you know, this gun's bullets go faster than this gun? Like, what's the purpose of what's the purpose of this gun, and what's the purpose of this gun? What sort of like situations and environments would you use this? What kind of situations and environments would you use this? And you'd probably have to take that into account as well. I mean, plus with the stock, I mean, you know, whenever I see a stock on like an SMG, it's like all the way up there. When, I don't know, like SMG range, I don't really, I don't shoot guns in real life. I have. I never shot like an SMG. Most of it was just like pistol stuff. And like an occasional like semi-auto like AR that my buddy had. Other than that, I mean, it is weird to have the same bullet to do like less damage out of here and more damage out of there, just because it's aesthetic. Maybe not aesthetic, but I don't know. It just makes sense. Like if I shoot this gun, I would expect the dude. Well, it's so weird because in video games, if I see an SMG, I'm not really expecting anybody to die in like 4 or 5 shots, because like the magazine size is like massive. This is like, I don't know, like maybe this kind of actually looks like an extended mag. I don't know exactly, like 20 to 30 bullets or something like that. And in general, when I see this type of gun, it would it would signal in my head to be like, okay, I have to use about 90% to 95% of the magazine to get a kill in someone or off of someone. But off of the pistol, which is like traditionally like way less rounds per mag, what is this, like 12 rounds or something like that, at least like 90 to 95%. I don't know. It's like this gun, I am conditioned to expect like a kill off of like 4 or 5 shots. But if this magazine is like way like double, if not more, then I would expect to get a kill off of like at least half of the magazine. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just too conditioned, I guess.
Almost double? That has to be an oversight, right?
Yeah.
But then again, why is the damage suddenly horrible when I put the bullet into a Glock, needing like a bazillion bullets to kill an opponent? And if
I mean, there's probably like some physics and some mechanics and some engineering that goes into like how fast the bullet is coming out of the Glock versus the SMG. So that's probably another aspect of it, like to go into like the mechanics of the mechanism, it's probably about the same, but one just shoots off a little bit faster, and this one is like you got to pull the trigger each round.
If we are going to talk about pistols anyway, why do so many games get revolvers wrong? There
Oh,
are
yeah.
so many inconsistencies and balancing issues with handguns in gaming in general.
Oh, yeah.
Why can't they just be like real life? Why do we have to stuff those weapons away in the secondary slot instead of primaries? And why oh why can some pistols one-shot an opponent in the head, while other larger cartridges guns can't?
Oh, wow.
So many
Yeah.
questions and so many different handguns to cover. So grab yourself a
A
snack,
Winston.
make yourself comfortable, and enjoy the show.
Nice. Oh, I like this little intro. I like the synth wave. Oh yeah, good music, man.
The four main categories of handguns, and those I will cover, are semi-automatics, automatics, revolvers, and the oddities, like
Yeah.
the flintlock pistol, or let's be crazy and say the flare gun. Under the semi-automatics would be the Glock, 1911, and even the Desert Eagle. Under automatics, you can also find the Glock and the CZ. You can also find this, but I'll get back to that in a minute.
This is like, this is a pistol still, but it's like all this extra bullshit. Like I would expect to see these type of guns in like a Zoomer. Like when they get a new gun, they're like, and then they go on TikTok and see like, and then like once you get a new gun and then you go on TikTok and search guns, you're gonna see all this like tricked out guns with like, oh, I got the red dot sight, I got the little hand thing that goes on the end so it's stable. I got the little fucking stock thing right there. I got this little keychain to dangle off right there. I got the front mounted doodad to line up the red dot, even though you don't need it. It's whatever. I got the gigantic silencer that like doubles like the length of the gun, and it's like it gets a little ridiculous when you start adding on all these accessories, and I don't know. It's just funny to me.
Finally, under revolvers, we can find the single and double action cowboy guns.
Oh yeah.
And there's also the shotgun revolver. The first
shotgun
question
revolver.
we have to tackle is, what is a handgun? According to the all-knowing, also known as ChatGPT, a handgun is a firearm designed to be operatable single-handedly. Weird, because you have to use both hands to reload or pull the
really?
slide on your weapon.
A firearm designed to be inoperable single-handedly, like bang bang bang. Yeah, but that's you don't really shoot like that in real life. That's only something people in the movies do. That's movie gun shooting. In real life, you use both hands for stability and you line that shit up because you want to be the most accurate and most stable. So how are you going to do that? You're going to use two hands, dude.
Weapon, but we won't question our future oppressors. Here is where it gets even weirder. What classifies as a pistol? Is this a pistol? This?
Oh, yeah.
How about this one? Well,
the weird ones.
This one isn't. This weapon isn't one either. But the third one actually is a pistol if we ask America.
That's so
as
weird.
Long as the barrel is
Gun laws change. Don't trust me.
under 16 inches, the gun has a pistol brace and not a stock, which here's the difference. And
oh, yeah. I said what I say. I said a stock, a pistol brace, and a stock. Yeah, dude. Now we're getting into the minutia of it all. A pistol brace versus a rifle stock. Yeah, this is a little ridiculous, and people fall for it is the thing, with marketing to people that really enjoy guns and whatnot. It's like, oh, I got the pistol brace, I got this, I got that. It's like, come on, dude, what are we doing?
And as long as you have an angled grip and not a vertical grip, then this is classified as a pistol. And
angled grip versus a vertical. Oh my god, that's so weird, dude, bro. Oh man, and I thought gamers were stupid for buying a bunch of stupid microtransactions. Bro, gun owners are just as gullible as gamers. Not gonna lie.
This on its turn is classified as a short-barreled rifle?
What?
God bless America, fellas.
What is all of this noise? This little overhang and this little clasp thing? What? This is and this looks like a tiny hammer. You know, I understand like this is probably like you can fold this up, maybe not even, because if you fold it up, it would come in contact with the trigger guard. Maybe you fold it that way. I don't know. It's just so weird.
I hope this clarifies why this is also an automatic pistol. Before we can dive into balancing different kind of pistols, revolvers and whatever, we first have to balance those gun categories as a whole. Think about it. In my previous weapon balancing videos, I tackled one kind of weapon
Snipers
category
and
at a time, aka basically this part of what we are going to cover today.
Ooh.
It's ambitious, I know. But it's kind of hard to just talk about Glocks and 1911s without including Cowboy Desert Eagles.
Yep.
And if I talk about those anyway, why won't I just talk about the rest as well?
Yeah.
So, what is the purpose of handguns in the game
Juice.
we play or want to make? Do we want pistols to be a weak backup tool or a reliable weapon? It's important to have a clear picture in mind before we take the deep dive. Think about Counter-Strike for a minute. CS2 is an economy-based shooter.
Where the reticle?
Both teams rack up money for things they do, and with that money, they can buy bigger and better guns.
Right.
When it comes to balancing, developers of economy-based shooters have a kind of get-out-of-jail-free card. If a weapon they made turned out horrible, they just lower the price and call it a day.
Yeah, which is actually kind of funny, but it does serve a purpose in that they don't have to worry about balancing a gun. I think seldom does Counter-Strike or Valorant ever like touch the like the gun statistics. It's just like if the gun sucks, lower the cost. If the gun's good, increase the price. And that's pretty much how it's been.
If it is OP, then vice versa. This approach works, I guess, but it also confuses me, because the Desert Eagle is considerably better than an M249. Yet for the price of that LMG, we can buy 7 birds. In general, economy-based shooters are, in at least my opinion, almost unbalanceable. It doesn't matter how good, bad or unrealistic a weapon is. In the end, what really matters is the
in
price
real
tag
life, like, let me see this.
In general, economy-based shooters are, in at least my opinion, almost unbalanceable. It doesn't matter how good, bad or unrealistic a weapon is.
In real life, this guy is dead from this range. The pellet spread will be enough to, because this is a shotgun, the pellet spread will be just enough to get through the bars and probably not, like maybe the pellets will touch his head, but this guy is getting peppered to shit. All right? This guy is getting sprayed. Meanwhile, in video games, you get behind like this little railing right here, and it's like you have a whole nother extra shield attached to whatever. But yeah, I mean, but you know, in Counter-Strike, I think that's, yeah, in CS2, it's like you ain't doing shit. You're lucky if a single pellet hits this guy.
In the end, what really matters is the price tag associated with it. I unfortunately didn't study economics, so I won't be focusing on the price tag part of our balancing journey.
Ooh.
Additionally, we have hero-based shooters.
Oh yeah.
Every character is different.
You gonna talk about some abilities with your hero shooters? You want some abilities with your pistols, dog?
And their kit usually is as well. A fast, squishy character usually gets stronger weapons.
I think it's really good that he's using like finals, just like cutscenes and gameplay, because it's like this is like the newest like FPS right now, and you know, it was, you know, popping off a little bit, and yeah, it's just good for context.
And in return, tanky characters get the weaker ones. Here as well, it is difficult to balance those weapons as a whole. The strength and impact of one of those characters doesn't solely depend on the weapon they use.
Bro,
it's a combination of their speed. Well, it is
that the character select screen?
The strength and impact of one of those characters.
Bro, this is insane. This is like Apex Legends levels of and Overwatch levels of character selection, and they got room for all so much more. Like all of this. And those are all like loadouts essentially with abilities and whatnot. Like, god dang.
Characters doesn't solely depend on the weapon they use. It's a combination of their speed, abilities, and how they use those weapons that defines whether something needs balancing. The Spy in Team Fortress 2 has a completely unrealistic revolver that does horrible damage. Yet it's balanced because the character isn't made to run and gun into a building. He's supposed to sneak around, stab people in the back, and only shoot when things go south. The character Chamber in Valorant has a revolver that is basically a pocket sniper. But this gun is balanced because it takes up an ability slot, has a limited number of bullets, and because the opponents can buy their own pocket sniper. Though theirs is a tiny bit worse and without a scope. It's the little things around the weapons that make or do not make
that guy
a
looks
weapon
like he
balanced.
belongs to Cyberpunk.
For this reason, I will also try to stray away from hero-based shooters as much as I can.
So we're not using, so as examples, you're not using economy shooters, you're not using hero shooters. Okay.
This leaves us with the pick or find a weapon games. And here is why I'm also going to shine.
Oh boy, Call of Duty. Well, hey, if you're going to use Call of Duty as an example, you got to add like an extra bar right here called what is it? What's that thing? Like ghost recoil? Well, there's like regular recoil, but with like let's call it like SBMM ghost recoil, where if the game thinks you're doing really good, they just nerf the gun damage. They nerf the recoil, they nerf the damage, and it's not like a bar that you can see, but that is a thing. All right, if you're going to use Call of Duty as an example.
The main way developers balance handguns,
it is what it is,
versus other guns is as follows. Copy the stats from the DMR, remove the range, add a little bit of movement speed, and done. A completely new weapon. Definitely not a reskinned marksman rifle. Let's be honest, that's a boring approach. Handguns are some of the most amazing and satisfying weapons to use in gaming.
Oh yeah.
And this is how we make them playable? Nah, we gotta do more for the little bros. Allow me to suggest how I would balance them. If we are free to choose whatever gun we want or can find, why do we usually go for non-handguns? Why can't we make the pistol a viable thing? I guess the best way to answer this question...
that is a good question. Why can't the pistol be viable? I don't know. That is a good question. I think it's just like it's an aesthetic thing. Like what looks like visually looks cooler to sell to a player. A guy with like an AR or something in his hand. It's like, yeah, this is like the vanilla, like cool guy, or like a pistol, like a single pistol. I mean, yeah, that's like if you want to do like an appeal to what do you call it? Like how relative it is and how realistic, like more people own pistols than they do ARs. Well, then, yeah, I could get behind you on that. But I don't know. It's like outside of movies where you have things like John Wick or like The Matrix, like Neo with like the bank scene where he's got like the double pistols doing all the flips and shit. Like outside of shit like that, pistols just, I don't know, they're not as appealing. Because, like, I don't know, you just see them every day, more or less. Like, police officers have them. It's like your standard gun to, like, I don't know, learn from. Yeah, it's just the vanilla gun.
Is by looking at Tarkov. From all the shooters I've played, Tarkov, aside from their horrible recoil changes and stupid scavs, is one of the most realistic shooters I have ever played. Their weapon damage system is exactly like a lot of people enjoy. It works like this. Every bullet has a damage and a penetration stat assigned to it. And within each caliber are different kind of versions of them that massively change how much the caliber penetrates and how much damage it does.
That's pretty cool.
For example, let's bring back the 9mm from the intro. In Tarkov, there are 9 variants of this bullet. And usually the game follows the balancing rule of the more it penetrates, the less damage it does. Which it also does here. If you're wondering how they justify this to being realistic, they argue that if a bullet overpenetrates, it does less damage internally than if it would catch and defragment.
So this is going through a wall, essentially. Yeah, 25 damage plus penetration, it goes straight. 45 damage plus damage, it kind of does like a shotgun type deal. But my question would then be, why are you shooting... I mean, is it really like that common of a practice to shoot guns through walls? I mean, if we're talking about Tarkov, I don't know if they like were able to like wrap their hands around that little cheater issue they had a little while back. So, I mean, it is what it is.
In your opponent's body. Honestly, that's a really realistic approach. Though this is just a 9mm round. I'm not too sure it can even penetrate a body at all. Anyway. between all these 9mm rounds is, for example, the rip round, made to do maximum damage to a person, though it can't penetrate anything. On the opposite side of the spectrum, we have the PBB GZH, doing half the damage of what the rip round would do, but being able to penetrate up to level 3 tier armor pretty easily.
Oh, was that picture before, like with the pen and like the little spread, was that like supposed to be a person? And like the layer, there's supposed to be like layers of armor over top of them. Is that what you meant? And not through a wall? My bad.
Personally, I really enjoy this weapon damage system, as you really have to think about how you want to use your weapon. If you load it up with rip rounds, don't aim for the chest, as it doesn't penetrate the body in the slightest. Instead, you would have to aim for the arms or the legs to ensure maximum damage. Because of this pistol and this pistol are completely different and serve completely different purposes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just like to ensure maximum damage. Because of this pistol and this pistol are completely different.
I would say that yes, this is like another level of gameplay, but they would have to find some way to make a distinction between the two pistols, because if you're like a new player to the game or whatever, and you see like how many like rounds were there, like 9 round types. If you see 9 of these type of guns, I mean, I don't really care like how Tarkov like displays it and whatnot. If you just see 9 of these type of guns, but you have to have the wherewithal to know this type of gun has this round, this type of gun has this round, and so on and so forth, and all the guns look the same, that's to me, that's not really good gameplay. Even though it's kind of cool to have like a bunch of different types of pistols, you'd have to like figure out some way to make each round type distinct. I mean, I don't know, like I've never played Tarkov. I've only ever seen like gameplay, so I don't know, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass.
And serve completely different purposes. And you know what? Just like in the intro, let's also bring back the MP5 and the pistol, which Tarkov obviously has as well. And lucky for us, they also shoot this exact caliber. Now, unlike in games that aren't Tarkov, the pistol's DPS output and fire rate are both just worse than the MP5's. It also doesn't have any range benefit or movement speed multiplier to the pistol. It has nothing.
Bro, there is so much visual clutter when you got shot. Like, god dang.
The pistol just sucks. But then again, if your goal for your game is for it to be as
please tell me Tarkov has like some sort of reticle.
Realistic as possible, then yeah, there isn't much we can do for any kind of handgun approach if we want them to be as viable as the other weapons. In realistic games, pistols will always be a bad option. Right?
In certain situations, but I kind of feel like where you're leading.
Not exactly. The American audience and the airsofters that are watching this probably already know where I'm going. Have you ever held a fully fledged M4 for 30 minutes in an active shooting range or scrim? That stuff gets really tiresome. The average pistol weighs around 700 grams, while a fully fledged M4 weighs around 3D.
Bro, 700 grams? That's like 10 gaming mouses, more or less. Actually, if you want to go like really modern, where it's like somewhere between 40 and 60 grams, that's probably like 12 or 13 gaming mouses.
500 grams instead. I know, that doesn't sound too bad. But in practice, you will notice it does get heavy due to the balancing point of non-pistols.
Yeah.
A handgun fits perfectly in your hand, while an M4, for example, always wants to tip forward due to the balancing point. Which means in reality, it weighs more than just 3.5 kilos.
Yeah.
You could...
What is that? Like, it's like the old-fashioned like strength feats where the dude's holding like a sledgehammer, like with a straight arm, like way the hell out there, and then he does the thing where he like tips his wrist down, and he's like holding it by like the bottommost part of the sledgehammer. He tips the sledgehammer forward, and then he tips it up and like touches his nose with it. It's like, yeah, it's a sledgehammer. It's like what, 6-7 pounds, but then when you add all these levers on top of it, it feels so much heavier than it actually is.
aim a pistol all day without your arms getting tired, while any other gun, especially the bigger ones, get really heavy the longer you hold them.
Yeah.
Additionally, operating a pistol like the also mighty ChatGPT have told us, can be done with one hand. Think about the possibilities for a moment that we can create for the players if we allow them to customize how they want to use the other hand.
That is actually like a really cool little distinction, incorporating like gun weight. I mean, but this is from the perspective of if you're trying to make a game with like, maybe you could gamify this little like physics thing you're doing. And I'd be interested to like see something, but then I would worry about if you add too many levels and layers of like realism to like a shooter. I mean, yeah, there's probably gonna be like an audience, but it's like, who are you trying to appeal to when you add like a physics like layer to like your gunplay? I mean, because we've seen like with, what is it, Modern Warfare 3, they have, I think, at least two layers of realistic aiming, in that whenever you strafe in Modern Warfare 3, you have a little bit of reticle acceleration and slowdown whenever you aim. And whenever you turn to aim with either like your right joystick or with your mouse, you add another layer of like reticle acceleration. And on top of that, you have the recoil you have to manage. Just with not even like strafing or aiming. So that's 3 layers of things that you have to account for. And then you want to add on another level of, I don't know, gun weight to it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, my man.
We can have them wield a knife, like in the old Call of Duty games, or a flashlight. We can also be fun and allow the player to have maybe some kind of tactical phone with real-time information or something.
Oh yeah, we've seen this in Warzone. You know, you just you flash the black hat thing, and that tells you where the guys are for a quick minute. Or a quick little blip, and then that's enough time for the professional Warzone streamers to look at their other screen, figure out where the guys are, and just be like, yeah, I whipped out my little smartphone, and I knew where they were off the blip, and I was not completely looking at my other monitor, which had walls on it. Yeah.
If you really want your game to be realistic, then you shouldn't have a HUD, right? So then a phone like this could be some handy stuff. And that's not where the benefits of a pistol stops. Opening doors is a lot faster with a hand-free, and so is shooting around corners. No need to expose your body and your shoulder if you can just poke your hand around the corner instead. If companies really want to have realistic combat built into their game, they have to start thinking less confined to the established FPS genre, and think more outside of the box. Handguns can very well be a primary and a solid weapon. And if you really start to think about it, like really, if you had to classify a handgun to a certain kind of player or a playstyle, it would hands down be the ideal weapon for a support player, rather than a backup one for everyone else. You have to pick someone up who just got downed? Do it while slaughtering enemies. Makes it more fun and intense at the same time. Are you the black sheep in the family, and do you have to carry the objective back every time? Easily done with one hand free. The list goes on and on and on, depending on how complex your realistic game is. A handgun could almost be overpowered, yet it is the weakest. Yeah. Honestly, right? If you are a developer and want to dive into realism, you have to...
I mean, I think I watched like some Fortnite gameplay just recently, and isn't there like, I don't know what mode, there's like an item where you, on your left arm, you have a complete damn near 100% cover of like a shield, and you just poke your arm out of the side and you have a pistol, and you're like almost like 99% covering your body, and that's like insane. I mean, I don't know if there's like a damage like threshold for the shield, like you do enough damage to the shield, it just breaks, and then it's just like that. But that, you know, yeah, it does offer another layer of it to be like completely overpowered, but damn, if that's not what's the word where it's like too much? Ah, shit, what was it called? Like overbearing? You'd have to like tweak it a little bit.
To try this approach out. I promise you, it will revolutionize your game for the support players among us.
Yeah.
Pistols,
But then again, who's signing up to play an FPS to be a support player?
revolvers, and whatever are just weaker. It's just how it is. But by adding all these small
not
touches
really.
that I just covered, they can instead be stronger. If a player chooses a handgun, offer them customization in the term of how do you want to use your left hand?
Yeah.
If they don't want anything, reward them with better recoil control, as it's easier to counter it with two hands on your gun. By the way, right? How
Yeah.
about this customization, huh?
Oh,
What,
akimbo.
you thought I wouldn't mention them today?
Akimbo.
Of course I won't forget the akimbo option.
Yeah.
And here as well, let's try to make it as fun as possible. Do you want to akimbo your weapon? Be my guest. Each handgun gets normal recoil, so no need for shenanigans with any of that. And you are free to choose which handgun you want to be as your secondary. You want to play the Glock and the USB at the same time? Sure. You want to play the Glock and revolver at the same time? Sure.
Ooh.
You want to play the Glock and the flintlock at the same time? Sure. Do whatever you want, buddy.
You know, this actually, when you just say it at like a service level like this sounds like just really cool gameplay.
You are
You know what this reminds me of? Like the two guns and like customizing one. This kind of sounds like the gun Zerker from Borderlands. You know, like how one hand you had the double penetrating unkempt herald, and then the other one you had like that Moxie pistol that slags and heals. Oh my god.
the one in control. We need to stop limiting the creativity and the freedom of the players. Allow them to customize the weapon and their playstyle to their own extent. That way, people can really find their place in your game. It's so important. Anyway,
Yeah, but honestly, like whenever you offer like some sort of customization to like akimbo type, you know, gameplay, people are just gonna, what are people gonna do? People are gonna meta the shit out of the game, and they're just gonna make it so that whatever option gives me the fastest time to kill, I'm gonna choose that option, and that's it. But in concept, it sounds fun.
that's the first part of our balancing journey done. Now it's time to balance the difficult stuff. Time to balance the semis, automatics, revolvers, and the oddities between each other.
Ooh.
The established formula of the handguns is as follows. Semi-automatic pistol, weak damage, weak fire rate, but you move fast with it and the recoil is minimal. For automatics, it's basically the SMG, but suddenly the recoil is horrible and so is the damage and range. Even though they often use the same caliber as other submachine guns, but we already spoke about that. Revolvers are glorified Desert Eagles, but the bad Desert Eagles. Damage about 70%, and the fire rate being horrible, not to mention the recoil. At least the range is unrealistically high.
Yeah.
Finally, we have the oddities, like the flintlock, often seen as a joke weapon by the developers, which is really just a shame.
No, it's not a joke weapon. Well, yeah, it is a joke weapon, but it's the fun weapon.
The damage is 99%, because why not?
And it's honestly, this is the most meta gun right here. The oddities, the joke weapons. Yeah, we're not going to take too much time to think about the balance of this gun. So, yeah, just 99%. And, you know, remember that akimbo option you had before? Yeah, all you need to do is just put, like, some gun in your offhand and to put this gun in your main hand and then just run up on top of somebody. And, yeah, just pull both triggers at once and there. The time to kill is 0. Voila.
And the fire rate is super duper slow. Range and everything else is all around the place, because extreme equals funny, I guess? This is how the usual handguns are balanced in games. For comparison, this is the AR, SMG, sniper, and shotgun.
What is this gameplay here, dude? Am I watching like a TikTok in YouTube form?
Instead. Now, which ones would you rather take? Unless you are trying to be different, you
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
won't be picking any of the handguns. Maybe that's fine. Maybe we want the handguns to be backup tools. But personally, I wouldn't mind an additional weapon category to pick from. Do I think that being able to one-hand the guns and have this additional interaction speed with everything else is enough for the handguns to be balanced? Not
It
really.
depends.
Even
Probably for like objective type games where you have to like click to do objective type gameplay, then yeah, you could kind of balance it around that. But other than that, if you're just trying to take pistol into like just a raw ass gunfight, then no.
Even in games like Call of Duty, where they still clearly try to make handguns a viable primary, they still feel underwhelming and underpowered. Unless you akimbo them like shotguns, I guess. Plus, what if your game doesn't have interactables?
The time to kill, 0. There, it's balanced.
Then that whole benefit is gone and we are back to 0. We need to do more for our one-handed friends to make them feel special. And I think the best way to do that is by looking at a couple games and study how they are used in there. What treatment do pistols and revolvers exactly get? And when do players actually use the pistol? And most importantly, what is the handgun's job compared to the rest?
Yeah, this is pretty true. Most controller players just work at McDonald's because they just got to do what they got to do. And then, you know, the M&K bros are all the multi-millionaires with stock exchange enjoyers. And, you know, they play just on the better input and, you know, it just is what it is. There, I said it.
The first game I want to delve into to figure out these questions is Enlisted, which is also today's sponsor. To the folks at Enlisted, I hope you are okay with me being honest about your guns. So, because the game is a historical shooter, they don't feature 5.7s or Desert Eagles with impressive calibers, but they do offer auto pistols and even some revolvers. But honestly, they all fall short. Not in a bad way, but rather in a it's accurate to its time manner. Handguns during World War II weren't that great, and because the game aims for realism, they, well, reflect that accurately. If you had to choose between a gun that can instantly kill someone at any range, or a pistol that only carries 7 bullets, needing 3 to take down an opponent, you would probably stick with the instant killing one.
The instant killing one? I mean, I don't know, that kind of depends. If the pistol has 7 rounds, but it only takes 3 rounds to kill someone, that's potentially like 2 kills you have in one clip. So that's like your baseline. If you pick up like an SMG or an AR and it takes damn near like one whole clip to kill someone, well then, you know, it's not going to be long before people, you know, figure out, oh my God, it only takes 3 like rounds to kill someone. I'm using the pistol and I can kill 2 people off of 1 clip. That's how people operate, man.
I've also noticed that when you encounter someone...
But I think I just saw the M1 Grand just one-shot a dude in the chest, so yeah, I'm probably gonna pick up the M1.
and manage to eliminate them, there is a high chance you will get instantly pulled into the next engagement. How? Well, in Enlisted, you're not just playing as a singular soldier, you control an entire squad. So if you jump into a gunfight with a pistol, hit all your shots and kill your opponent, you and your half-empty pistol might find yourself in a disadvantage when your former opponent re-emerges fully armed from around the corner. With all of this in mind, if you aim to be a fancy gunslinger, your headshot game has to be on point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, be ready for a brand new soldier about to revenge his fallen comrade.
Yeah, and if you're gonna say you have to aim better with a pistol, then you can just say that for all the other main type of guns, like just aim better, and that solves your issue. Oh my God, why is my name right there? Yeah. And then, like, people are just gonna, you know, use the main guns with better aim.
By unloading their STG-44 into you. Additionally, there is one more argument why in realistic games, such as Enlisted, handguns are more a backup tool than a go-to weapon. The maps. They are massive. Don't get me wrong, that's a cool thing, and personally, I'd love to play on big maps. But when you are wielding a handgun, that massive map...
Bro, what is happening right here? I paused it perfectly. Like, I get it that this is like the game's 2 years old, and it's like a World War II like recreation and whatnot, but god damn, what is this like piece of the gun just like T-posing up in my face, dude? What?
Map suddenly feels 10 times as big. In close quarter areas with ample of opportunity to escape, handguns can definitely be useful as a last resort defense tool. But in a huge open combat area where you will spend most of your time, you would feel extremely ineffective with a pistol, and would once again much rather rely on your primary gun. I really only found myself using a pistol when my main gun was out of ammo. Or when I was in a tank, I guess, shooting enemies from my commander's cupola.
Alright.
You can easily tell that the game designers intended secondaries to be a last resort weapon, rather than...
I mean, it kind of looked like, you know how in Apex you run faster when both your guns are holstered? This game kind of seems like that, in that when your pistol is out, you just run faster. And then when you feel the enemies are like you're in the desired range for your favorite gun, then you switch off the pistol and onto like your main gun. That's what it kind of feels like, and I think that's a good. I think that's good. I think that's good gameplay. I would probably have to be convinced otherwise, because I don't know. I just like having it, like I don't honestly I do not like have the mechanic of having to like have a holster button. It should just be like switch gun, either one or two, or like what is it, like C or V to like just swap guns, or mouse wheel up and down to swap guns. I don't know. I think that's a little bit easier, and you can tack on the whole just run fast with the pistol, or like in Valorant or CS, you run faster with the knife out, I think. Instead of like holster, having a dedicated holster button, or I think in those games it's just switch to the knife or whatever. It's fine. I just hate having I hate the holster mechanic.
And a primary damage dealer, which, don't get me wrong, is a valid approach for games aiming at realism. If you try to slay entire armies with just this small pea shooter, you might find your KD dropping faster than your magazine's capacity. What I will say about Enlisted is that it's a very unique game that mixes PvE and PvP combat all together. As mentioned before, you can take control of customizable AI soldiers and strategize for your team to get the win against hundreds of other targets led by other players. Additionally, the game is free to play. You wouldn't have guessed that from all the clips I just shown you, did you? Enlisted offers multiple campaigns to play through that offer their own unique weapons, vehicles, and equipment from the outskirts of Moscow in
Bro, I didn't even realize this was a sponsor segment until I saw this like loading bar thing. I thought he was using this game as a reference to the rest of his video, dude.
1941 to the hearts of Berlin in 1945.
Oh my god.
The game has an incredible amount of details, and the graphics are really, really good. Plus, it offers over 400 weapons, tanks, and aircraft. So, my lovely viewers, if you would be happy to support the channel and like the look of Enlisted, use the link in the description to download the game for free on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. You will also get a free bonus pack including a helmet, multiple weapons, 4,000 silver, and 3 days
Bro, why does this look like Magnus Midbow? Oh my god.
Of a premium account. Thanks for listening to the sponsor segment. Alright, so on big maps, pistols are not it. And against big groups of enemies, where you need to be able to put many bullets down range rapidly or you will get refragged, the handguns once again fall off.
Lose out.
Moving on, the game I have the most experience in and also hate with a passion. Rainbow Six Siege.
I'm sorry.
Even though I don't like the game anymore, I always ran into an autocurrent when playing it. This is the PMM, a Russian pistol for the Russian operators. The pistol does a whopping 63 damage per shot, and with even the most armored operators only having a max 125 HP health, you can down them with just 2 taps.
What?
As a comparison, this massive LMG does only 35 damage, almost half of this teeny thing. I don't know what Russians put in their pistols, but this is just way too overpowered.
God dang.
Is what you would think. In reality, no one...
Wait, is this like still in modern not Call of Duty, Rainbow Six?
Uses it and much rather opts in for their main weapon. The same story goes for revolvers. Here is Alibi. She has a main weapon that shoots really fast but does only 26 damage per bullet. In her secondary slot though, she can wield one of those that does a massive 78 damage per shot.
Dang.
3 times as much damage than her Storm SMG. Ooh. And no, this revolver does not shoot slow at all. Look at this. Not to mention, no recoil at all. And if that wasn't enough, it can even leave huge holes for you to peek through. This weapon as well though, is barely getting used. On paper, that makes no sense. Why use a main weapon that does way less damage if you have a weapon that can 2-tap any opponent? Well, there are actually quite a lot of reasons why you generally don't go for pistols. First of all, in Siege headshots insta-kill someone. It doesn't matter if your weapon does 50, 20 or 1 damage per shot.
Okay, so you want, so the reason for that is you just want to get a single headshot and you have a better chance with more RPM guns.
If you hit someone in the head, they die. Because of this, it's generally preferred to have a weapon that shoots fast and does little damage over a weapon that hits slower but does more damage. aka the handguns in Siege. Secondly, pistols and revolvers have a steep damage fall-off, with both handguns losing a whopping 50% of the damage if you hit someone that's further than 22 meters away.
Yeah, but in Siege, like, aren't most of the time you like fighting in like a single house and you're just walking around in rooms and corridors and shit? Seldom are you ever like this, like far from someone, I think.
Rendering them basically useless. Though Siege is usually a close-range gunfight game,
Yeah.
it's still important to be able to do good damage on long range.
I
And here
guess.
as well, it's better to use your main gun than a pistol that falls off so quickly. This on its own ties in with the fact that pistols aren't magnified. Almost every gun has a magnified scope available to glue up, but all handguns, aside from one, do not benefit from
Gotta
that.
make that target
That
bigger.
might not look like too big of a deal, but personally, I am a big supporter of scoped weapons. This is the hitbox of someone when you ADS with a non-magnified weapon. Seems pretty normal. But
Yeah.
this is the hitbox of someone when you ADS with a magnified weapon.
Yeah.
Practically twice, if not more, as big.
I mean, yes, the target is bigger, but I mean, so this is like a pro for having a magnified thing, but a con for this is it's harder to react whenever this person moves. But I mean, again, if the goal of the game is to have like a 0.0 like time to kill, then you're not really reacting to movement much, I would imagine. You're just trying to get that one headshot in like 0.2 seconds or 0.2 seconds that you see someone or whatever. There's not much like strafe dodging and all this other bullshit that you see in Apex with like dodging and strafing and all this other noise. But yeah, the con to a like a super clear magnified target is that it's harder to react to the movements they do.
And if you glue a scope on a fast-firing gun that has not too much recoil, having someone's head twice as big makes killing opponents never easier again. On your left, you will see another reason why pistols aren't preferred by the players. Here is our opponent. You see him? How about now?
Yeah, you
Rough,
can't
right?
see him.
Now,
Yeah, this guy could easily crouch. He could go prone. He can do whatever. He could start crouch spamming. I don't know if that's a thing in Siege. And it's like, yeah, this is just an unfortunate thing that happens in a lot of FPSs.
if we were to hold a normal gun with a standard sight, you would still see him. There he goes. In Siege, when you clear a room, at least if you are experienced, you always do it on head level. If you don't, you will miss out on free one-taps. The thing is, if someone is waiting for you in this room, they are most likely using cover to conceal most of their body. Meaning if we do our professional clearing, we would not spot the enemy as fast as we normally would.
Yeah.
Of course, we can counter this by just always looking a bit lower. After all, we are going for body shots anyway.
Yes, but if you do that, then you sacrifice the advantage that you have of having your reticle placed at head level. It's like a 50-50. Like as long as it's like a game sense type thing. If you're walking around this corner and you're trying to shoot behind the person that you think is behind the couch, then you like pre-aim it a little bit and then you walk out. Once the couch is clear, then you move your reticle back up to like head level and just continue.
Anyway, with our high damage handguns. But even his body level on its own turn heavily changes depending on the distance and verticality that you have. In general, a huge part of your screen gets blocked by your pistol.
Yeah.
This is also why the CZ in Siege, that is fully automatic, has a big extended mag and does more damage.
Bro, like I was on the fence of like playing Siege, but seeing it like this is just like so unattractive now. Like with ADS, like this is just a big like black dong that's in like on top of my screen. It's like some like I'm trying to play the game and someone's doing like this to me. Like it's like they're covering up my eyes. Like, come on, man. What are we doing? It's 2023. Can we not make some sort of like little game concessions to like oh, maybe there's like a skin that you still have most of the gun, but it's like it's somehow like it's translucent or something. It's a 3D translucent printed gun that you can kind of see like through it a little bit or some bullshit. Like, come on, it's a video game, man.
Than almost all SMGs, plus even has a higher fire rate than most of them. Doesn't get used that very often. It's just so hard to see what's in front of you.
Yeah.
In Siege, there are pistols that have scopes on them, making it way easier to go for nice one-taps and aim for head level anyway. but those all have a horrible DPS output, removing the only reason why we might.
Oh, and now we have balance. Because you can see so much of your screen, you can't do damage. Therefore, no one's gonna pick that gun in the end anyway. What balance?
I'd go for pistols in the first place. And the one pistol that does have a huge scope and still some good damage has really annoying recoil and requires 3 shots to kill all but the lightly armored opponents.
Yeah, but the gun's balanced, so it's okay. So that's the argument.
Once again, rendering it redundant. The 5th reason why handguns are generally less played is the lack of customization. Players tend to play whatever they enjoy the most.
What?
With a modification.
It depends on what audience and what category the player falls under. Like, I would say for casual players of their favorite FPS, yes, then your argument stands. But if you're talking about a player that's at least in like the normal bell curve, of course they're good. You know, it's 2023. People are looking up YouTube videos. I gotta find the best loadout. I gotta find the best attachments. I gotta find the best scope, the best this and that, whatever. People are just gonna play whatever's meta, unless they're like grinding for like gun skins or whatnot. So it really depends on the audience.
Modification system, they are able to customize a weapon to their own specific needs.
Yeah.
But sadly on the handguns, all you can customize is if you want less recoil, a suppressor, and if you want a laser sight.
Ooh.
That's quite boring. The final reason why they are less played is that we have DMRs in Siege, with damage as high as the handguns, though funnily enough, less than revolvers and the highest damage pistols. Nice Ubisoft moment. Not to mention, you can pick any scope in the game on those weapons, and they also have less recoil than pistols, more range and more magazine capacity, making it ideal for quickly killing people in the body and long range engagements, perhaps even more ideal for replacing a pistol. Those 6 reasons are why handguns in Siege, and I would almost argue that in gaming in general, are lackluster. Body shots aren't rewarding. Damage fall-off is insane, they aren't magnified, they block a huge part of your view, aren't very customizable, and if you do like to play single-tap weapons with high damage, why don't you just play the DMR?
Yeah.
Moving on to something completely
These are all
new to
big
the weapon
truths.
balancing series. Let's take a look at a PvE game, ready or not. Though the game doesn't have DMRs, it does.
Or if you don't want to look at like a PvE game, I mean, just look at Borderlands, dude. Or Destiny. I think the customization in those games are crazy. You can have so many like little attachments and doodads, and I mean, understandably, you can't really do that in like you can't just like go in and add attachments like Borderlands, but like how guns spawn is I think it's pretty creative. Like you can have like different little front pieces to your gun, different I don't know, handles, different triggers, different sights that all like change how the gun operates and shit. And then, you know, essentially you're just basically hunting and like spot farming for like the perfect version of the gun.
Does have a lot of handguns. How do the developers balance them if they don't have to think about how the people on the receiving end will feel about it? Well, almost exactly the same as if it were a PvP game. There is no insane damage drop-off or something, but there's also nothing that makes the pistol a more worthwhile weapon to use than a P90, for example. In this clip, I managed to pop some terrorists, but once again, with some more difficulty due to not being able to see well without a scope. But then I noticed another thing a semi-automatic weapon lacks: the panic factor. As I opened this door, I was jumped by not 1, but 2 guards who I only managed to kill by spray and praying. Being able to shoot a lot of bullets down range by simply holding left mouse button is crazy useful when you're panicking.
Okay, but I would also say the panic fire, the spray and pray, also comes from the fact that you have to figure out what kind of penalties you're gonna put on the player whenever they take a single shot of damage. I mean, because in this game, I haven't even played this game, but I've just seen it or whatever, but it looks like you get slowed down, your vision gets blurry, and like what else? Just with those two alone, like slow movement speed and blurry vision, that's enough to warrant a spray and pray type gun as opposed to a pistol where you need like precision. So why in the world would I ever choose a pistol if I'm just going to be victim of just bullshit like visual clutter mechanics? Yeah.
It's also just nice.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if there's like a health bar here, but the third thing is, your health is going down. You're probably going to die.
And taking out a singular person. Surely one of those 10 bullets I just emptied on him managed to hit his head. If a weapon has random spread when hip firing, or just always randomness in general, you are more likely to hit someone's head if you shoot 5 bullets per second than if you would shoot only 1 per second, aka a semi-automatic pistol. So what can we add on the board here that we learned from Ready or Not? I guess it's more that we learned the benefits from not playing a pistol rather than something about the pistol itself.
Yeah.
Handguns are not great for the panic factor.
I mean, the panic factor comes from the visual clutter, I would say. If the only penalty that you put on the player is simply like damage and maybe like like a damage indicator, like, oh, the arrow is like red, it's going left, it's like, okay, then you could probably use a pistol in that situation. No shaky aim, no like camera recoil, gun recoil, whatever else, reticle acceleration, this, that, no movement speed penalty, then yeah, I could say I'm comfortable in like using a pistol in a panic situation. But because of all these other visual clutter factors, then yeah, I'm probably going to use the spray and pray gun.
Being semi-automatic means you have to carefully line up each shot before you shoot. And combined with the small magazine, it makes for a bad weapon to panic fire with. Additionally, you have less, how do I say this? Luck. Do you guys remember that math question we all had to face during high school about the probability of grabbing the red-colored ball from a jar of blue balls? No pun intended. The more times you try grabbing the red one, the higher chance you escape your blue ball's destiny. From reviewing those 3 games, I guess we got a pretty solid idea of the strengths and weaknesses that handguns have, with them mainly just being bad in way too many ways.
Yeah.
I am genuinely struggling to find a viable solution for handguns for them to be in the primary slot. The only thing we can do is try to make every pistol as basically an odd variant of the existing primary weapons.
Yep.
The semi-automatic pistol would have to be a close-range DMR like most games already do, while automatic pistols would have to be like an extreme version of the crisp factor, fast fire rate, little damage, horrible range, and even smaller ammo capacity.
Yeah.
Revolvers would have to be like Chambers pistol. One shot in the head on any range and needing many bullets in the body to kill. Making the revolver a weapon only to be used for skilled players. Kind of a shame really. The oddities like a flintlock can, well, like what I already said before,
one shot, one kill.
Basically
a joke
be
gun.
An almost one-hit weapon. If I'm trying to be optimistic here, I guess it's already a lot better than what most games already do if we take these approaches. And to make it slightly better, we can make it so the players are able to mod the pistol to at least fit a scope on it and other attachment stuff.
Bro, wasn't this a thing in, what do you call it? Oh, was this like original Modern Warfare 3? Where there was like a challenge that you had to do where it was like, you have to get 2 revolvers, put 2 like gigantic ass scopes on them, and then you have 2 like scoped like sniper scope pistols, and you're running around akimbo. And I forgot what it was called. I think it was called like 4 Eyes or something. Oh my god, it was like the funniest fucking like it was like those like gigantic titles that you got that you put on like your little like game card character. Whenever you killed someone, it would show up with that thing. And it would just show up like 2 pistols with 2 gigantic sniper scopes on it. And it's like, yeah, I did that akimbo. And then because in akimbo you can't ADS. So it's like you put the scopes on there for like a pointless reason, just for style factor. It's like, oh, that guy's running around. He's trying to get that little achievement.
On top of that, we can make it so they all have a pretty tight hip factor, making it at least somewhat distinctive.
Yeah.
And to say cherry on top, it also has this one-handed interaction bonus. All of this will probably be enough to make it a viable primary slot. But as
yeah, it'll be viable enough to like grind out the last skin on it and then never touch it again.
you might already know, I'm not a big fan of unrealistic changes to a weapon. But if you really, really want the handgun to be a primary weapon, then here you go, I guess?
I guess?
Okay, I made up my mind. In my honest opinion, handguns should be secondaries.
Yeah.
But maybe we need to stop linking secondaries with being a bad weapon. Why
Yeah.
don't we make them as a solid, quote-unquote, worse version of already existing primary weapons?
Yeah.
Surely you guys played a sniper before and were like, man, I wish I had something good to protect myself with on close range. Or when you played a shotgun and you felt like you needed something for longer ranges when you cross a big field. Well, my good fellas, this is our opportunity to fix that. At the beginning of this video, I introduced a lot of different handguns. And for a good reason. Those weapons are basically the must-have variants in games. So let's reel them back in and let's make them viable secondaries without being too unrealistic. Starting with the Glock. Damage, 4 shots to kill. Fire rate, okay. Range, medium.
Yeah.
Recoil, low. Mobility, high.
Yes.
Handling, also high.
Yes.
And new to this weapon series.
This is your bread and butter type gun. You give this gun to the day one player, and you let him move quick. You let him reload quick, and it's like, oh my god, I'm doing everything so fast. It's 4 shots to kill. Pop, 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 pop. And yeah, it just feels good to play.
Due to popular demand, magazine capacity, which is also high.
Oh
Though
yeah,
the damage here is definitely
bro, 4 shot to kill. Dang, dude, that's 3 kills in a mag. Dang.
better than in most games where the Glock is shown. The high magazine capacity and low recoil make it a very noob-friendly gun. Next up, we have the 1911.
Not just a noob friendly gun, that could possibly be a meta gun.
But this could as well be any other good guy pistol that we see in
Yeah.
games. Damage, 3 shots to kill.
Ooh,
Fire
even better.
rate, just like the Glock. Range, alright.
Oh, it's 3 shots to kill, but the fire rate is the same as that, so why would you ever use the Glock?
Mobility, still the same, it's a pistol. And the handling, slightly slower than a Glock. And to
Yeah, but who cares about the handling being slower when their enemy is dead and you're still alive?
make it distinctive, let's have it so the pistol can hold max 7 bullets. This makes it so your shots count a lot more.
Yep.
But also that you're able to kill an opponent with a singular headshot, which the Glock can't.
Ooh, this is the new meta gun. This is the new meta.
Keeping the skill ceiling high, but making it difficult to kill multiple people due to your low weapon capacity. Now, for the Desert Eagle, I had a lot of trouble balancing it. To the point I almost wanted to remove the weapon entirely. Desert Eagles and revolvers always share a spot together, and
Yeah.
are both basically the one-shot headshot machine. But I'm not a big fan of weapons being the same. I want every single one of them to be distinctive. Because of that, I'm
That's fair.
going to change the revolvers ever so slightly. I will get back to that in a minute, so before you start to write hateful fanfiction about me and your favorite tool, just hear me out for a little second.
I'm listening.
The Deagle will remain as the one-shot headshot machine.
All
but
right.
there is a catch. I like the idea of pistols being able to dome people in the head with one click, just as all the assault rifles should do. But I don't like how it can both shut down people with one bullet and do a lot of damage to the body. So,
All right.
my suggestion. Damage, 2 shots to kill. It's
Okay.
a Deagle after all. Fire rate, medium, just like the 1911. And
Ooh, wait. This is the new meta gun.
the
Yeah.
range, good. But here it comes. Recoil, horrible. When
Horrible.
you shoot a shot, your weapon needs a second or two to reset again. Spam the gun all you want in your moment of panic, but don't expect to hit much,
Ooh, it might not be the meta gun.
unless luck is with you, of course. Though I want mobility to be high as it's a one-handed weapon, I feel like the handling of the Desert Eagle should be slower to punish those who
Yeah.
try to push its luck.
Yeah, because the Deagle in real life is pretty freaking heavy.
Moving to automatics. Should we have the automatic Glock have the same stats as the semi-automatic Glock?
No.
I'm going to side with realism over cartoon logic here and say it should have the same damage. Yet,
Oh?
even higher fire rate because it's automatic.
Oh,
To
you're gonna up the
balance it
recoil.
though, I want to make the recoil really bad.
Oh, Jesus.
In a bad way that, in close range, you will have no issue killing people quickly.
Close
though
range, yeah.
slightly slower than an actual SMG. While on the longer ranges, it will be really hard to hit shots consecutively.
That was the new meta gun.
The CZ, on the other hand, will have a lot better recoil, but with a little evil twist. The pistol only has 8 rounds.
Oh.
It needs 4 bullets to kill, and the
Ooh.
fire rate is pretty good.
Ooh.
The recoil is good as well. The range alright, and mobility and handling, well, you know it, it's a pistol.
It's a pistol. This is the new meta gun.
The thing though, if you pick this gun, you only have 2 magazines. The one in the
Oh.
gun and the one in the front as a grip. Once you run empty on your first mag and you detach the front one to use it, the recoil will suddenly get a lot worse. So the first engagement, you will be pretty solid. The next one, maybe not so much. Okay, so we are back at this monstrosity, the American pistol. But let's be honest,
that's true.
there, it's just a stupid AR, so bye-bye. Okay then, the revolvers. We have the single action, double action, and the shotgun revolver action thing. Let's do it like this. Single action revolver shoots slower due to you needing an additional step to shoot. But they are going to do more damage because we are going to choose a bigger caliber revolver for the single action type. Damage, 2 shots in the body. And range, alright. Recoil, really good. It's not a sniper as in sniper thing. It's more like a more manageable DMR that hits slower.
Alright.
Additionally, we have the double action revolver. It shoots faster, has lower damage, and the rest, well, you know it.
It's the usual.
Cannot one-shot opponents in the head, but you can do a lot of damage in the body. For both the revolvers, I would like to make it so it takes ages to reload, so your shots really count. Finally,
that's fair.
Well, we have the pocket shotgun. We grab the stats from the existing shotgun, reduce everything just a little bit, and here we have a weapon for absolute close range engagements. The flintlock is a one-shot use thing. You shoot it, you can't reload it. But on extreme close range, you can one-hit an
this is the pirate gun. This is the Jack Sparrow gun.
Opponent in the body. Though if you shoot the legs or arms, they won't die in one shot. The weapon is like a get-out-of-jail-free card, yet you can only use it once.
Oh, that's funny.
The flare gun would be like a secondary flamethrower. If you hit someone, you do a little bit of damage, but they will burn to death unless they somehow extinguish themselves, like by jumping in water. This means you can also one-hit opponents.
But what's the range?
That isn't
What's the
always
range?
a smart thing to do. First of all, you can still be killed by your opponent even if you hit them first, as they are on a timer. Secondly, the flare will be projectile-based, which means it's not a hit-scan weapon, which is really hard to hit with. Finally, you only have one shot. A fun tool, which might be OP, but also might not be.
Oh wait, was the range and the fire rate just like dog shit? Well, then what's the point? You gotta get up in someone's face. You might as well like just melee him 3 times, dude.
This is how I would personally balance all the handguns. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to figure out a completely new thing for the handguns, as it would be too unrealistic. But I did manage to give an approach for the guns when they are in the primary weapon slot, and for when they are secondary. I really enjoy handguns in gaming, and if you make it so they are just slightly worse primaries, but in the secondary slot, there is a valid reason to enjoy them, and we won't forget that we even have them equipped. Plus, picking a sniper no longer means you can't contest an objective that is in a close building. You can just switch to your automatic Glock or CZ-75. Now, before I tell you about my beautiful Patreon supporters, a gentle reminder that if you want to try out Enlisted yourself, use the link in the description to download it for free on PlayStation, Xbox and PC. Where you will also get the free bonus pack, including a helmet,
that's
the
100%
multiple weapons,
Mid-bow.
4,000 silver and 3 days of a premium account. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching the entirety of this lengthy video. Make 2024 a year that you will be proud of. And, like always, please subscribe. Patreon shoutouts, here we go. Marcy38, my...
Bro, this is such a good video. I was like hoping you would come out with like a pistol one. So what do you got? You got like a shotgun one, a sniper one, a pistol one. I know you're saving like a juicy, like an assault rifle, maybe like a marksman rifle one. And some other things, but god dang. This one was really cool and in-depth. I liked it. But yeah, and I hope to see like the next ones you make, dude. But yeah, other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next one, all right? Later.